What's up, guys? Going to run the hot wire for the fuel pump today. I got that kit from 3SX. I told you Monday that everything else was here. That was a lie. I didn't mean to lie. I'm not even going to say the company's name, and I'm not going to use any of that footage because I came completely unglued that they told me they shipped everything after waiting 3 weeks. They sent me the fuel pressure regulator. It was obviously like returned. This is how the box was opened. So hopefully it even works. This is the gauge that they gave me. It completely fell apart. As soon as I put a wrench on there, I barely put any torque on there trying to tighten it up. It just completely crushed the whole gauge, and now the gauge is just leaking out fluid. So I ordered another one on Amazon, and then they sent me the wrong gauge. This only goes to 15 PSI. This isn't gonna work to measure 40 PSI of fuel when the gauge only goes to 15. So I got another gauge coming today. They also sent me all the wrong fittings. See how those are 4 AN? I ordered 6. Went and I got 6 AN fittings. I'm gonna run this hot wire first. That's gotta be done regardless. And then I'm going to put the fuel pressure gauge on just without a gauge for right now so I can finish running the fuel lines and get this all put back together. And I'll just leave this blocked off until the new gauge comes. It should be here today or tomorrow from Amazon. But that's the headache that I've been dealing with. Let me get this hot wire and run it to the tank, and I'll walk you through how to do that. It's pretty easy. You just run a hot wire so you get a constant 12 volt and a relay that I am trying to understand, because everything that you look up online isn't a relay like this. From what I can tell, pretty sure red goes to red, then blue goes to the pump, and then white goes to the harness for the car, black is ground. So you want to run a hot wire from your battery to the fuel pump. You want to have the fuse closest to the batteries. Have this in your engine bay, and then I'm going to run this all the way down. I'm going to take this all apart. I'll walk you through it, and it's got to come back here to that pump. And then, like I said, everything I looked up online, they're using a different relay. They're not this colors. There's like a yellow one and stuff, so I think I got this right though. Red to red, black is ground, and then blue I think goes to the pump. Like, you'll cut this wire, this one that goes right here, it's a black with a blue stripe on it. You'll cut that, and one of these, I'm pretty sure it's the blue, goes to the pump side, and then the white goes to the wire side, the harness side. And then when the car tells the pump to turn on, it tells this to give it a constant 12. Let's get this interior apart so I can do that. I don't know how I'm going to get it in the car. You see that boot back there that's on the firewall? It'd be nice to put a little slit in there and push the wire through and keep it on the passenger side. So I kind of already had this apart. The wire and harness for the engine bay, you know, comes through this wheel well over here. And I was ripping out all his speaker wires that he had running to really nowhere. None of these were plugged into anything. I mean, this is more like a remote wire for an amp, kind of. I don't know what kind of setup that is that he's got on there. And these are RCA wires for an amp. And he's just got a bunch of speaker wires. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to take these back seats back out. For those of you that haven't been around, I completely already had this interior out, pressure washed everything, got all the stains out. You can see the carpet came out pretty good. These seats just come out by pulling this tab down. This wire that he has ran just all over the place. The only place I can figure out where that wire goes is to this light. That doesn't even work. Yeah, I don't understand what this black wire is for. Why would he run that black wire all the way to that light? Can someone explain that one to me? So I'm trying to take as little apart as I possibly have to. Alright, well, I've been talking. I didn't have the camera on. So, like I said, I had all this out, and I just left the wires in because I didn't know exactly what they were. I was pretty sure these were speaker wires, but I had no idea what this was. Oh, this is probably to like the stock CD changer, isn't it? Yeah, see? Oh, it is. Look, I could have just read that a year ago. I don't know, this orange one's too. This isn't factory. It's all taped together with electrical tape. Alright, I don't know why. I don't have a good excuse why I didn't take these out when I had all the carpet out. Well, I mean, at least I got a bunch of speaker wire if I ever need it. Yeah, dude, he has none of this hooked up. Here's the other side of the orange. It went to a fuse. Someone leave it down in the comments where this orange wire could have went to if this is factory. I doubt it is. But it looks like it's screwed into a fuse behind the dash. Pretty sure that's something he had hooked in so he could like use like one of those generic Walmart amp splitter things. I gotta get all this out of my way so I can get underneath the dash and see if I can find out where that wire and harness comes in at. Found something kind of cool, I guess. I forgot all about this. If you've been here when I painted the engine bay, remember I went around and I stuck earplugs in all the bolt holes because the bolt holes go all the way through the firewall. There's one right there. You see where this orange punch is? There's a bolt hole right there. I don't remember what used to bolt there. Obviously, I'm not using it. I just used that punch to poke a hole through it, and I'm gonna run the wire through that bolt hole. I was gonna try to take that wiring harness out right there and poke a hole through that loom and run it with the same loom, but that's all up behind the blower motor, and it's a pain in the butt. This one right here, you can just poke a hole through it, and you can push the wire down below the blower motor and under the carpet. Okay, what I did was just use a screwdriver, poke a hole through that rubber mat on the other side of that bolt hole that I showed you earlier, and I just pushed the wire through, and now it should be on the floor. Let's get this all untangled. Now I should just be able to pull this straight through. I forgot about that on this car. All the bolt holes go all the way through the firewall. You see the wire right there? I can tuck that real nice. You'll never see it. Now I just gotta tuck it around this, run it down, and through this carpet. This battery isn't gonna last me all day, so I'm just gonna have to walk you through this instead of giving you like a time lapse of me doing it. I pulled the battery through there, keep it up under the carpet, you know, just give yourself enough slack right through there so the carpet can cover it, and then just run it down under the carpet all through here, and then back around the same way I pulled out those wires a little bit ago. You're just gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna try to run mine up through this time though, instead of in between the seats. I'm gonna see if I can get it to come out right here. If I can run it all through this, I might have to take this off. I'll bring you back if I gotta take this off. Just let me get it situated in the car and I'll bring it back. All right, I'm gonna show you this real quick. I know most of you would just run this right through the carpet, under the seats, and down the middle. That's the easiest, but I want it up to this plastic. And unless I wanna take all the plastic out of the trunk, it's gonna be a pain. So I'm trying to fish it up and over that beam. So what I did here, I fed it up through there, and then you got that seatbelt right there. So you gotta get it on the other side of that seatbelt bracket. So I fed it up through and around that seatbelt bracket. After I fed it up and through and around, I'm gonna take this screw out, and then I should be able to get it up and over that. So you see it right there, it's one to come around. You're gonna wanna try to fish it up under this. Now everything's hidden. Red goes to the red, so you're gonna wanna cut this, feed this in there. They give you a heat shrink too in that kit. Black will go to ground. I'm gonna reuse the ground that's on this harness, and then I'm also gonna run a new ground. I bought a whole packet of these. I'm also gonna run a ground, I don't know. I want to try to run a ground to the body too. So I think I'm going to run this to the ground on the tank, and then from that to somewhere on the body. Just don't know where yet. Alright, so my ground wire, I unplugged this from the body. My ground wire, it's usually there, but my bolt broke off, so I just used one of the existing bolts, and I'm going to clean that up a little bit more too. I'm going to take a wire brush to this and just get this all down to bare metal. So you're going to want to put heat shrink on these three. Just push them all the way down to the bottom so you know they're on, you don't forget. You know what I mean? You want heat shrink on the white, red, and blue one. So you gotta cut this, but it's this one right here. It's the black with the blue line in it that then goes to this white. It's this one farthest to the rear of the car. Just gonna try to cut it right in half. Okay, I actually just called 3SX and double checked. The white goes to the harness, the blue goes to the pump, so I was right on that. This heat shrink too, I just remembered I forgot to show you guys this in case you never used it before. You just put it over the bare metal, and then you can use a heat gun or you can just use a lighter real quick on it. You see how it'll get tighter? It just shrinks and gets tight. Ground I gotta clean up a little bit. See, I sanded it down to bare metal. And then I got one of these like braided ground lines. I'm gonna put that down first, and then I'm gonna run that to somewhere on the body. I'm gonna put the new ground on there, and then I'll put the ground that's on the stock wire and harness on there and tighten that down. I shouldn't have a ground problem back here. I'm sure that braided line's overkill, but if you've been here, you guys know that I had like a dumb ground problem up front. That should be a good enough ground. I just gotta figure out where this is gonna hook to under there. Should be long enough to go down below the tank, so I think I can hook it to the body somewhere right here. Now I just gotta hook up this red. I just don't know where I want to mount this at. I've seen some people running it out and then back into that tray. I don't see any reason why I can't just leave it down here. This thing can definitely stay down here. Alright, let me find a good place to tuck this before I cut this red wire. Okay, well there's that. Everything's ready to go. I don't know how I'm gonna get this in there yet. I might drill a little hole right on the corner, about the same size, if not even a little bit smaller than this wire. Wrap this wire in electrical tape right there, so when I plug this back in, it sits nice in a little hole on the side of the body. I mean, honestly, I don't even need to drill a hole. I think it's gonna fit fine. I wanna get a new one of these covers too. I kind of stopped on the whole cosmetic thing until I get this car running right. Once this is running and it's got base tune on it and everything's good to go, like I said, I'm gonna do the brakes, I'm gonna get everything looking nice. Hopefully it'll be broken, and then he's gonna put, you know, my 500 horsepower tune on this. Once the tune's on it and it's 100%, then I can focus on doing the front splitter, front bumper. I don't know if I'm gonna reuse this bumper. I gotta try to fix that. The kid that had it before me did the clutch in the middle of winter, and he had a space heater and he melted that. I was looking at some bumpers on IMR. If you go on their website, I might throw up a picture right now. It's like a green 91, but it's just 3 big circles. Instead of having fog light holes, you get more air going to your intercoolers. So I might go with that bumper instead of the factory bumper. I don't know yet. Leave that down in the comments what you think. Hey, by the way, for any of those of you that care or are running into a grounding problem like I did, I ran that braided line out here, and then I'm cleaning all this tank off right here and this threads off the stud, and I cleaned the bottom of the nut. I'm just gonna ground it right here. Just an extra ground for the fuel pump, ground to the tank itself and to the body. Since I ran into that whole grounding problem, I figured I might as well put an extra ground on the fuel pump too. Okay, let's hook up this fuel pressure regulator and get those lines buttoned up. Okay, like I was saying earlier, I'm never gonna order anything from that company again. I'm not going to say who it is. I don't want to be the guy that sits here and just talks bad about a company. I understand that there's mistakes can be made, like somebody might have put the wrong package in, or you might have lost something, but this is like the 4th time that I've ordered something from these guys, and I'll pay the extra 30, 40 bucks for 2-day shipping, and it ends up not coming for a month. The one thing I ordered, if I say what it is, you guys will know exactly what company it is, so I'm not going to say that. The one thing I ordered, I was complaining about it back in a couple of my other videos. I ordered it, I paid for 2-day shipping. It took almost 2 months for me to get, and they did not reimburse me my 2-day shipping. And the injectors didn't come, even though they said they would be here, so I don't even know where those are at. I ended up ordering my own fittings, so instead of waiting another month for them to get back to me, at least I can run the lines today. I can finish running my fuel line. I just have to wait for the gauge to show up. So that's pretty much how it'll look in there, but instead of that being blocked off, a gauge just like this, I got the same as that gauge. It'll be on there like that. And I already got the bracket in the engine bay. It's right there like I talked about before. So it's gonna pretty much sit just like that in there. And it's not gonna be front and center, so it'll be nicely hidden, but I can still adjust it if I need to, and I can still see the gauge. Probably use a 90 on this and then run a line to that 45 on the rail. Yeah, see, that's a lot better down there than having it up there like a lot of people do. Like I said, when I was doing my fuel rail upgrades, I don't really want to see all this stuff. I don't need it to be all flashy and everything. I gotta run a line from here to there. Alright, I'm just gonna walk you guys through how to do this real quick because I already did a video when I did the other line. To do AN lines, you just want to put a piece of tape on where you need it to go and then cut it with like a Dremel so you don't flare out the end, and then you just put these fittings on. They're pretty self-explanatory. They just come apart in the 2 pieces. You'll put this piece on the end like that and force it down and then screw it back in, and it flares it out and it seals it tight. I literally just said I wasn't going to show you guys how to do this because I showed you in the other video, but I don't want to be the guy that sits here and is like, oh, go watch my other video if you want to know how to do it. You can just watch this one. These ones are just a little bit different than ones that I worked with before in the past. Talked about that last time. Usually they're reverse thread. These ones aren't though. These ones you just go on and then you just screw this in there. You gotta get these to the bottom out or they'll leak. Alright, there we go. There's that. Now I just gotta make another one. Now, unless you're running all new lines, which I don't know why you would ever run a new return line if yours is fine. Mine's right there. And then I'm just gonna run a line from here to there. I don't know if I'm going to use AN. Okay, so I've been sitting here debating on what I wanted to use for the return line coming off of the fuel pressure regulator. This is a stock fuel pressure regulator. You see how much smaller of a hose that is than like 6AN? What I was thinking about doing was making a 6AN, putting this adapter on one side of it, and then just leaving the other side open like this, and putting it on that line, and then just putting a hose clamp on there super tight. But you see how loose that is? So instead of doing that, what I think I'm going to do, since I already have a 6AN fitting on the bottom of the fuel pressure regulator, I think I'm just going to use it apart like this. Instead of putting this back on there, I'll just put this line, get it up on those threads, and use a clamp on there, and then cut this line, the original stock line, to pump back into the metal line, so it's all nice and tight and snug. Alright, I think that's what I'm going to do. Just this rubber line like that, and then this should fit tight. I don't know. Obviously, 6AN is going to look better. There's going to be a bunch of you that say just use a 6AN line, cut it, and use a clamp on that. But the 6AN flops around on that so much, I'd have to have a clamp on there so tight, I think it would leak, or the clamp might even break. I hope I'm explaining this good. So I'm using a 6AN fitting on just a regular rubber line. Instead of putting this bottom piece on the hose, I am using just the inside of it, and I'm going to use a clamp. All right. There we go. It's on there. I didn't put the clamps on yet, but does that make sense? Instead of using a 6AN on there, or an AN line, like a braided line, it kind of needs to be more flexible than the braided line is, so I just used rubber. Now I'm going to put a clamp there, and a clamp there. Let's go around, check all these lines, tighten it up, and then I need that gauge. Okay. Only 2 days after it said it was supposed to be here, I got a new gauge. Just hope that's right. Exactly what I wanted. All black. Got to at least go to 80 PSI. This one goes to 100, so we're good to go. So the gauge is going to go right there. Take that out. And then I haven't made up my mind yet if I want to use Teflon tape or if I want to use red RTV. Just sit that in there real quick, see what it's going to look like. I just love the clean black look. I'm going to get this tucked up somewhere. Put that back there and zip tie it. Okay, I'm going to need to actually clean those threads out with some alcohol. Good thing I did, huh? It's full of shit. Dude, I'm telling you, that company, there's no reason that a brand new fuel pressure regulator's got all this shit in it. You definitely don't want to get any of this on the face of this. I let this sit for a little bit. Let's put this on. Man, this thing's gonna get tight upside down. That's gonna suck. Come on, let's just get it a quarter turn before this thing breaks off. The thing is clean. Hopefully it doesn't run into that pipe. I didn't even think about that. Oh yeah, look, I'm way good. Which I'm not gonna probably, I might actually use these pipes that I already bought. Just put a 90 on there. Talked about it a few times. I'm not gonna have a mass airflow sensor here anymore. I'm running speed density. Dude, that is sick. That's pretty much the end of this video. I will see you in the next one. The ECU should be here, like any day. Sometime this week, hopefully, the ECU's here. I also gotta do the shift bushings for the shift linkage. I got copper bushings to replace those cheap plastic rubbery ones. If my injectors are here before the ECU, I'll put those in. If not, I'm gonna put the intake and everything back together. Hopefully this thing will be starting up next video. I'm not making any promises, but that is the plan. Just finish cleaning up this engine bay a little bit, get it all ready for him. The ECU is going straight to him. He's gonna put a bass tune on it, bring it here, plug it in, fiddle with it a little bit more, get it just at running stock pretty much. If the weather lets me, I'm gonna take it out and drive it. If not, I'm just gonna let him take it straight to his dyno and break it in on his dyno like we talked about in the last video. See you in the next one, guys.